I'm James Preece, and I'm an international dating and relationships coach. I've been helping singles find love for over 15 years, have written best-selling books, and worked with many dating companies all over the world. My Love Machine podcast is all about finding love, loving yourself, loving life, and finding new ways to help you live your life with more happiness, passion, and success. I answer your questions, interview inspiring experts, and bring you lots of fun new ideas to finally bring you the love you deserve into your life. Well, hello and welcome back to the latest episode of the Love Machine podcast. Now, today I've got a very special guest I'd like you all to meet. It is the lovely Amy Ferris, who is the founder of the brand new matchmaking agency, Love Generator. Amy, welcome.
Thank you so much, James. Thanks for having me. Delighted to be on here today as a lovely guest.
Yes, because you've got your own podcast, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, I've got my own podcast, which is called Talk Dating. And it's basically about me speaking to guests who are in the dating agency community and speaking to them about dating agents, giving tips, or also speaking to life coaches. So just different people that can help people that follow my podcast and also that have become members of my matchmaking business, and we can give them some handy tips as they go along.
Fantastic. Hopefully you'll give my listeners some handy tips today as well. But first of all, for those that don't know who you are, can you just explain to people what brought you into the dating industry, what your background is, and what exactly your new agency is all about?
Yeah, I would love to. So my background, funny enough, is recruitment, and I've done it for 15 years for really busy professional people. I've got a recruitment company, and one day I was just sitting there over lockdown and I was like, so I love listening to my friends. I love matching my friends in fun. I love listening to dating dilemmas, love everything about dating. I'm good at matching people on a professional level. I deal with busy professionals as part of my job on a day-to-day basis. Why don't I set up a matchmaking agency to help people find love that are too busy to go and do it for themselves, or don't want to and want it to be really discreet, and definitely don't want to be on dating apps? I'm be a good person for it. So I thought about it for a while, and I was like, you know what, this is actually a really good idea. So that's where Love Generator came from. So basically came from my own experience of being on dating apps, dealing with my friends that are busy and professional people who've also been on dating apps. It hasn't worked for them. And speaking to clients for my recruitment company who often say to me, oh my gosh, I wish I could find a husband, or I wish I could find a wife. And, they can't find one because they haven't got time. So that's why I've created Love Generator, to basically be a recruitment company almost for really professional people for the heart rather than for jobs.
So Amy, which area of the UK do you specialise in?
Well, I am based in Nottingham. So I am going to be doing matchmaking for Nottingham, Derby, Leicester. So the whole of the East Midlands, Birmingham and London. They're the areas.
Fantastic. It's quite a wide range, but there aren't many agencies in those locations. So that's quite smart there, really. So you've launched the company already, haven't you?
Yeah, I launched the company officially in sort of February. So there was lots of behind the scenes thinking of things, creating a website, getting it all done, doing a matchmaking certification as well, like a qualification for that. So the company is now up and running. We are all guns blazing, wanting to get people in to matchmake, but we're a new business, and I think we've got a little bit of a different approach from maybe other matchmaking agencies because we're doing it a slightly different way.
How did you train to be a matchmaker? How does that work?
So I went on Caroline Breesley's matchmaking course. I read some books, and basically the certification is from her. So it's Caroline's matchmaking course, which is an excellent course for any people who want to do matchmaking. I strongly recommend it. And she gave us all a qualification at the end so that we are certified matchmakers.
Wonderful. I do speak to a lot of matchmakers who train through Caroline. So let's give her another shout out for the lovely Caroline. I must get her on my podcast at some point.
I think so.
I will do that. It's about time I did that. Wonderful. So you got the training, got the foundation. How have you found launching a business during the pandemic? Has it been difficult, interesting?
Launching a business is always interesting. It's always, you think about it for a long time and then you're like, you know what? I've just got to do it. There's that phrase, isn't it? Screw it, just don't screw it, just do it, or whatever. Just make sure that you just have to get started. So I launched it in lockdown. For me, it was actually a little bit easier because my recruitment company wasn't as busy, so I had more time to work on it. So that's been a bit of a blessing for me, because I've managed to get all the back out of the way stuff that you don't really see. That's all done, which has made it easier. So yeah, that's been interesting and very fun. I have to say, setting up a business again from scratch is great.
It is fun, isn't it? It's a fun thing to do because you never know what to expect.
No.
But like you said, you've got to make a start. That's any way to get things going and to do that. You launched in February. How have you found the uptake has been?
Okay, so I have found that we've had lots of interest. We definitely need more men. So just a shout out to anyone in those areas that want to look for a date. So that's something that we know that we need. I think it's really interesting speaking to the different sorts of people that would come to a matchmaker, and some people are people that you may not think would, and you get all sorts of different interests. So that's really good. Obviously it's super confidential, so we can't really talk about clients as such, but the following that we've started to gain is great. Speaking to people is really interesting, and we're well on the way to start matchmaking some people now, which is really, really exciting.
Fantastic. You mentioned the challenge of getting guys.
Yeah.
Now, what age group are your typical members?
So the age group for our typical members are between like 30 and 55. So that's the main jurisdiction for our members. And we are looking for men kind of in that area would be really useful. That's what we ideally want.
Because I find that interesting. That is very hard to get guys to do anything in that age group. Whether it's singles events or even, they are the men that tend to use dating apps and online dating sites, and they're struggling on there, and they're not necessarily getting the right types of matches. So they don't really realize that dating agencies can be an excellent choice, because there's so many lovely ladies, aren't there, that join up, and they are really, really high quality. There's a lot of misconceptions about agencies out there, that they are old fashioned and someone sat at a computer just banging out yes or no's and basing it on the computer program. But that's not how it is it?
No, absolutely not. I think there probably are still really traditional agencies like that are great for more maybe suitable people. But no, I mean, I can't speak for all agencies, but the way that we work is very much a personality-based match. So we send people out some personality tests, and we make sure that we really thoroughly get to know you. Now, I'm basing this on how I've run my other business, which has worked. So just to really get to know the person and find out actually if what they're saying is actually what they want, or if they're just saying that because that's what they think they should say. So really getting under the skin of people, I think, is so important. But we're definitely not just like sitting behind a computer and looking at pictures and being like, yes, those two would work. It's a lot more than that. I do think, though, that the traditional matchmaking and traditional way of working still actually holds value, because lots of people who have been maybe on the dating apps, or they've been on more like scientifically matched ways of finding love, sometimes it is just personalities that need to be put together. So you don't always get that from, I don't know, if you go on a dating app that's going to match you because of what they think your personality interests are based on the answers that you've said. It's a bit different. So traditional, but with a modern twist, I would say, is the way that we work.
Fantastic. That's what people need, isn't it? The dating world is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Things are changing, particularly now. I have mentioned this quite a bit on my podcast, but I really do believe we're coming to a really, really positive time now. And people are looking much more seriously than ever before for a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
So do you see that for your own business? Do you think this is a great time to do this?
Yeah, fingers crossed. I hope so. I'm very positive that it is. This is my point of view. I think that people often go on dating apps to pass time, or they may have been on there and they haven't found a serious relationship. And going to a matchmaker, it just cuts out everything that you don't need to do. If you're a busy professional and you're at work and you're working really long time in the week, can you be bothered to go and sift through like 100 time wasters on dating apps? I know that if I was looking for a match, I definitely wouldn't want to do that. I would go to a matchmaker. So yeah, I think it's definitely, I think when people start to get busy again and they're back at work and they need to get out dating and maybe they don't want to use the apps, I think that they'll definitely come to matchmakers more and more. I think it's going to get busier for us for sure.
It's a much more serious time, and professional matchmakers are booming at the moment. And I'm very lucky I get to work with so many great companies to do that. Now, you mentioned that you're not looking yourself, so you aren't single. Is that correct? You're in a relationship?
I am. I'm actually just coming out of a relationship at the moment.
You're between relationships.
I'm actually, so that's kind of what's happening with me. But I would definitely go to a matchmaker again when I was looking for a partner, just because it just cuts out all the rubbish.
I have to ask that question. It's a standard question that you'll get asked by any podcaster when they ask you how you're running your own company, because everyone wants to know that. It's curiosity. People always ask me that question, and they make assumptions and make judgments about certain types of business people. But I have to ask that. So I put you on the spot there.
No, it's fine. I actually kind of think it gives me a little bit of an advantage in some way, because for setting up a matchmaking agency, I'm 36, I'm a woman. So I understand now that the next relationship anyone's going to go into, especially at my age, is really important if you want to settle down and have children. And I've done good relationships. I've done ones that maybe haven't worked for not the right reasons. So I understand that it's so important, and you're at this age to find a match. It's like the most important thing you're going to do in your life, because hopefully that person's going to be who you'll marry and have children with, if that's what you're looking for. So in some ways, people might not think it, but I think it gives me an advantage of maybe married people who are matchmakers, because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and can totally sympathise with people that are coming to me.
Do you think there's more pressure on women around that age than men to settle down?
Yes. Do you know how many times I get told my age? You're 36. I'm like, yes, I know, I'm 36. They're like, you're 36. When are you going to have children? When are you going to get married? So you feel it from people all over. You know, it's not just like your immediate family. It's when you go out, it's all sorts. So 100% women feel more, in my opinion, that they feel more pressure for sure.
I think that's definitely true. There's a lot of pressure, but then women often feel they're the only ones, they're the last ones left. All their friends are all paired off, and there's no one else. But that isn't reality. There's millions of people out there of that age group who are absolutely in the same boat as you, and there's millions of guys there too who would love to meet you. But if you don't do anything about it, if you waste time on the wrong apps, you're not going to find it. So joining a matchmaker is a really good thing. It's telling the world that you're ready to do something about this, and maybe telling your parents and the friends that put the pressure on you in the first place. Yeah. But I have to also say, don't give in to pressure from other people to live your life. Do it how you want to do it. We have to make mistakes in order to get the rewards that we want as we get older. So can I ask, what particular life lessons have you learned from your past relationships that you can bring forward into this?
Well, I think I've got a slightly different way of viewing the world. I have lived my whole life fully to the fullest. Like, I've traveled the world, I've done everything. I've always been very financially stable, so I've never had to worry about anything. So I've lived a slightly alternative life than maybe my friends who have just wanted to get married and buy a house and have kids. Like, it's a different way. So what was your
I was asking about life lessons in terms of relationships.
So I think that this can give me experience for people that have maybe done the same, that didn't want to necessarily get a serious boyfriend when they're in the 20s. They wanted to go out, and maybe they've been working, trying to build a company, you know, living life on a slightly different time frame from other people. That's what I've done. So I understand, whereas maybe some people who have been married or have had a different way of living, I know from my friends and family, people that are more settled definitely have a different way of living than eyes of living than I do. So I think for all those like entrepreneurial people that have done lots of things before this time and they now want to settle down, I can totally relate to everything that they say, for sure.
Well, people are settling down a lot later in life now. They're having children later, getting married later. And what you do, you bring experience, you bring stories, you bring adventure. You've done that, you've lived your life. You're not someone that's just worked in the same job all the time for somebody else. So that's great. Men will definitely be interested in that. And there's an awful lot of women that I talk to who are in the same situation. Women are becoming much more empowered and stronger and ready for relationships. But I would say to the women that are listening to this, don't leave it too late though. Don't always think I'll take action tomorrow or next year or when I lose a stone. That's a common one I'm hearing at the moment. When when things change or I get a new job, because there's no perfect time other than today. Do something about it. And that's why matchmakers can help. It's support, isn't it, along the way? Because you're going to tell them the way they should be doing things and giving them quality matches. So if someone comes to you, what is the process? How do you vet people? How do you work out if they're suitable for your agency in the first place?
So we have a specific criteria of person that we want to help. We can't help everybody, and we don't want to say that we can, because that would be wrong. So our criteria of people is professional people between 30 and around 55 that obviously definitely want to find a partner. So the first thing we do is that I will do a consultant call with them for about 20 minutes, and we'll just have a chat and we'll get to know each other and make sure that we are the right agency for them and they are the right kind of client for us. I think ultimately it's how you gel with your matchmaker as well. If you two get on like a house on fire and you definitely think you can work together, then that's fantastic. But for any reason, sometimes you may not want to work with me, or you may not want to work with that sort of person. So I think the way that we get on at the beginning is really important. If it all goes to plan and we both want to work together, we think it's the right opportunity for both, then I will send you out some forms. They're quite in depth, that I always recommend people to make a cup of tea, sit down, think about your life, and do the forms, because it's to really get to know you and have to think about yourself and actually what you want, rather than just saying, I want to find a partner. What do you want? Because potentially this could be the last person you're ever gonna go out with. This could be your life partner, which is one of the most important things in your life, isn't it? So we've done that, and then if COVID allows and we can start meeting people, I'll go and meet them, have a coffee, and get to know you. Ideally, it would be in your house or in an environment where you feel comfortable, just so I could see what you do, what kind of person you are. And then we'll go back to the office, think of people that we've got to match you with, and then the matching process would start, which is really exciting. And this is what we love doing.
So how many matches would one person particularly get?
So we are trying to be very open-minded on matches, but around we've got two memberships. So there's one that's 6 months and one that's 12 months. The 6 months membership is around 8 matches, and the 12 months one is about 12 matches. But it depends on, we talk about this with every single member, because if someone wants a very hard to find criteria, but we still want to work with you, we may have to say, you know what, we will work with you, but you may understand there's only 3 people that we might be able to find you who match this criteria. So we want to have a really honest and frank discussion with everyone, just so we manage your expectations and that you actually know what service we're going to provide for you. Hopefully there'll be loads of matches and we can match you with millions of people, but it may not happen.
That's the idea. But sometimes you can have too many possibilities, can't you? And that's why people struggle on these dating apps. You get too many options and you can't make a choice. So allowing someone else to take the reins and to give you that guidance can really make a huge difference. Now, your background is recruitment, as you said.
Yeah.
I presume some part of that is headhunting, isn't it, as well?
Yes.
So you'll be bringing these skills now to your matchmaking services. So how will you be doing that? How will you be finding and recruiting potential matches?
So this is a bit that I'm super excited about. So I love going out and networking. It's for my recruitment business, it's one of my favorite things to do. So I'm basically utilizing all my skills that I've had in recruitment and doing it for this. So I'll be going far and wide to try and find people. I'll be actively going out, meeting people, getting them onto our network, because we have a network for people that we will invite onto our dating agency. These will be people that we've hand selected, that we know are single, that we think will be good possible matches for our members and our clients. So yeah, that will be when we go. So I'll be going to London, I'll be going to places in Nottingham, so I'll be finding people that way. We also have a few little little talent spotters. So if we know any of my friends or any people that we know of any really eligible singles, we'll get them to be sent over to us as well. So that's how we're doing it. We've actually randomly had quite a few people approach us from LinkedIn, which is a professional network, isn't it, for work? But yeah, I've had a few people on there that have been like, hi, can I chat to you? So that's actually quite funny that we've had, supposed to be for a professional, but we've had people coming to us through there. So there's lots of different ways that we're gonna find you matches.
I love the way that you called your network talent spotters. That must be a great name for a business in itself, surely.
Yeah. I just having people with their eyes open, like if they see anyone that they know single and they know is amazing, then they'll be like, right, I found you some talent, and they'll tell me about it. Obviously in a much more to me way than that. That's just me joking, but yeah.
Well, LinkedIn it's not supposed to be a dating site, but people use it that way. And some people don't like it and some people do. I know quite a lot of matchmakers do use that as a resource to reach out to people. But then it's hit and miss. You can get kicked off LinkedIn for using it for the wrong reasons if you're not careful. But I know you would have had training on how to do that the correct way.
Yeah. And also, it's so when I first started, I was like, shall I send out my my request for my company for Love Generator? Shall I send that out to people? And then I thought, I can't really do that because if people are married, they'll wonder why they're getting a LinkedIn request from a matchmaking agency. That's a big no. So we definitely won't invade people's privacy. But I do share lots of things, and I've got a huge network from the recruitment company on there. So lots of people are seeing it via that, which is really helpful for me because that's all London based, Nottingham based, East Midlands based. So that's great.
Fantastic. Are you still running your recruitment agency alongside this?
Yeah, I'm still running my recruitment company as well. So yeah, it's getting busy now, which is good. It's keeping me extremely busy, which is what I love to be. But I think there's actually going to be a really good crossover with my recruitment company and the matchmaking agency of clients and contacts that may be single on both sides. I think we can cross over and help people. So that's really exciting for me too. Excellent.
So in terms of the actual dates people go on, what advice would you give someone if they're meeting a complete stranger that they don't? Do they get to see photographs first of the match?
Yes, they do get to see photographs first, because we want to make sure that people have not only a good personality profile about them and information about them, but you've got to find that you're attracted to that person. And if you're going on a total blind date and you get there and you're not attracted, it's just not always a good thing. So we will show them a photo, and we'll still recommend, even if they don't necessarily fancy the person on the first initial look at the photo, that they still go anyway, because chemistry can come from all sorts of places, can't it?
Yes.
And my advice that I would give people, depending on what kind of date it is, if it's a virtual date or a date in a bar, should we say it's a date in a bar, I would say for people just to make sure that you have good conversation topics to talk about, that you dress really well to present yourself in the best possible way. You're paying all this money to use a matchmaker. You want to get a date, like make sure you look your best, without going OTT, but so that you look your most, your most desirable, the way that you feel comfortable as well. Like don't wear anything that you would make you feel really uncomfortable. I think that's super important. Be relaxed, don't get drunk, stick to like 2 drinks minimum, because I know from experience, this is from experience, I've been on dates and drunk too much and it's not a very good idea. So stick to dates, stick to like 2 drinks, and just make sure that you are spending this time to ask really good questions and to find out information about that person and enjoy your date. We've put you in it for a reason. We want you to get a good outcome from it. Don't be nervous. Try not to be nervous if you can.
Everyone's nervous to some degree. I think even the most confident people can be nervous or self-conscious in that situation. Yeah. But just embrace that, laugh about it. And you've got something in common already, haven't you? In that situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you talked about this chemistry just now, and how you can't always get chemistry immediately. And I completely agree with that. But what advice would you give someone to help create that magical spark?
I think to find common points of interest. If you're both interested in the same subject, or you both have a common interest, whether it's music or sport, love of cooking, walking, bike riding, whatever it is that's your joy and that gives you joy in your life. If this person is also interested in that subject, I guarantee that will create chemistry, because you've got something that you both have in common that you're both really passionate about. And looks, you can work on looks. You don't have to be attracted to someone just on how they look. It's more about how funny they are, nice things they do for you. You can get attracted to people as you get to know them. And that's where the chemistry comes, I think, from the initial, oh my God, they're so beautiful. I don't always think that is long lasting anyway.
It's not, that's more like lust, isn't it? Rather than love.
Yeah.
But the problem with the initial spark, and I do this a lot in my coaching, I cover this topic. It's why I'm going to ask you this now. Throw this back at you rather than answering it myself.
Yeah.
One of the biggest reasons people don't have this chemistry or this spark over time is they don't flirt enough. They're not making it clear. And if I ask people how their flirting skills are, most people tell me that they're very rusty or they can't do it. So do you have any top flirting tips?
You are putting me on the spot there. Oh gosh.
I know. I have to do it.
Okay, so for the ladies, it's just to be flirty, you have to be very feminine, don't you? You have to be your most feminine self. And to make the man, I don't necessarily know if these are good flirting tips, but making sure that the man feels manly. So when he's on the date, he is going to treat you like a woman. So you touch your hair a little bit, ask it, make sure that he pulls out the chair for you, say thank you, touch his hand, touch his arm. Just do those little gestures, hand behind the back, hand on the shoulder if you like them. So it's not like you're forcibly putting your hands all over them, but you're giving those little tiny gestures that, I like you, I'm interested in you. Obviously laughing at the jokes, that's good too. I also find that if you like someone, that if you talk closely to them or like talk in their ear, like just talk so that it's very intimate when you're chatting. I think that's a good one as well. But yeah, just be feminine and let them take the lead as a man so that they feel masculine.
That's great advice. And let the guy pay as well.
That's also a good one. Don't go Dutch, and don't be, if you are like a strong woman, hold back from being a strong woman, because I think lots of women that have come to matchmaking agencies may be quite alphas, which is actually the types of women that we would like to specialize in to help. But if you're an alpha female, I'm an alpha female, I know that you can find flirting quite difficult. So you may be the man, you may act like the man, and that's actually not the way to act at all. You have to step back and let the man do his job, I believe.
It's a matter of control. So many women I've spoken to recently tell me they're control freaks, and that's the phrase that they've used rather than me. They said that they want control, but they're so used to having control in their business and in their life, and they've been independent for so long. But what they really want is a guy to take control and to sometimes arrange the date, surprise them, do nice things, and make gestures.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the secret, because men can be intimidated by powerful, successful women. And you're talking about these alpha women, it can scare them off by not being in your feminine, not being too dominant, and not flirting enough. That's what it comes down to. But I do also say that some women might put off a lot of time wasters who are intimidated by them, because you really want to date someone that's intimidated by you. No, of course you don't. The same for you. If someone's intimidated by your success and the fact you run two businesses, you're not going to talk to them, are you?
Absolutely.
Turn off.
You've got to make sure the person you're going on dates with is an equal, and that, if you decide to go forward in the dating, into a relationship, that you both are looking like, it's like standing on the side, isn't it? And looking to the same place. You've got to both be on the same side.
Speaking of that, and speaking of alignments and your ideal partner, I can see you looking at me now thinking, what's he going to say now? What's he going to ask me now? Put me on the spot again. It's a very simple question. Don't worry. For those that can't, because I don't show the videos of these podcasts, but you're looking at me thinking, what's he going to say? All I'm going to ask you is, what are your thoughts on soulmates? Do you believe that people have soulmates?
I actually have a little bit of an alternative view. I think this might actually mean that they're not a soulmate, but I think people have soulmates maybe for different periods of their life. I think soulmates may be a very old school phrase that maybe was made from like the war or from a long time ago, where you meet one person and you be with them for the rest of your life. I think some people are lucky enough to find that person, their person that they're happily married to or happily partnered with for the rest of their life. But to find a soulmate from the beginning until the day that you die, or for however long you stay married, I don't think many people actually get to find that. So if soulmates were 100% real, I'm sure a few more people would have found them, if that makes sense. So long and short is, yes, I do think that they do exist, but it may be that you have soulmates different parts of your life depending on where you are.
I agree with you. You can have more than one soulmate. You're not restricted, and they come and go into your life. Otherwise, what happens if you end up losing someone early and you can become widowed? And it doesn't mean you're not going to find somebody else. It doesn't mean they weren't your soulmate. They still always will be. You can collect them. And some people have 3 or 4 at any one time. Maybe that's a bit greedy, I don't know, but they can do. And there's apps for that if they want to have that, actually, but I won't go into that. I need to get them on my podcast next.
Absolutely.
But no, I think, and again, it's just in being open and embracing who might be out there for you. But having expectations that someone is going to be your perfect soulmate and it's going to be easy, it's going to be instant, isn't true. That's not realistic. Every relationship takes work. I've been married for 10 years in a couple of weeks' time, together for 14. And that takes work. Yeah. Thank you. And kids come along and kids change things. It doesn't mean they're not soulmates. We grow and we laugh and joke and go through weird times. But every day you're evolving, and you should never stop dating as well. That's another thing I tell people. Yeah. But soulmates are there for good and through bad as well. And you shouldn't lose hope. Just don't ever forget that they are your soulmate. And
also on that is that if you think, if one person thinks they're your soulmate, but you think that they don't hang on to that person because you know they're telling you I'm your soulmate. You know, don't. It has to be a joint soulmate, doesn't it?
It does. Otherwise, you're with someone for the wrong reason because you don't want to upset them.
Yeah.
And people do stay with people for the wrong reasons all the time. Unfortunately, they stay because it's just out of comfort. They're used to the same patterns. They're used to being with that person, used to the same routines, and it's very hard to split with somebody. As you probably realise, telling me this, as you'll go through your process of decoupling. Is that the official phrase? It should be, shouldn't it?
I think so.
Conscious uncoupling, that's the phrase. Yeah. But I would say that again, but I'm not going to edit that out of the video. Conscious uncoupling, that's it. It's difficult because then you have to be on your own. You have to learn to be independent again. And you have to do this. But that's part of the fun. Life is constantly changing. And new opportunities will come your way all the time, as long as you seize them and you embrace them, you're ready for them. Don't stay with someone just for the sake of it. And the good thing is, during the whole pandemic, many people have broken up with unsuitable partners. Good. So that's what's happened before. Any last words from me on where you see that dating's going now in the future and things that might happen?
Actually, just on the point that you said about the pandemic, I think it has and is going to change, because I think what you've just said, it can totally... I was actually going to mention before that people have stayed with people because it's comfortable and easy. And then a huge world pandemic hits and you think, oh my gosh, you only live. I think it's brought the reality that you only get one life. You never know what's around the corner. You know, you've got to live your life for you and for the best, you know, to the highest level, haven't you? So for me, I think lots of people are going to come out of unsuitable relationships. They are probably going to want to find that amazing person. So I think for dating, in some ways, I actually think it's done really good, because it's made people realize what's important to them, what they do and don't want, especially if they've been living with unsuitable people or they haven't been able to see them and they haven't missed them, whatever the reason's been. So yeah, I think the pandemic has changed things, hopefully for the better. And I think people are going to be more determined to find that person, especially if you haven't been able to meet anyone due to being restricted, for just nearly every year now. People are going to be jumping out the gates to find a match. So I think it's good for us, and hopefully good for people who want to date too.
That's it. It's a very, very positive time. And I'm always telling people that, because I firmly believe that it's never been so busy for the love industry, for the good companies anyway. A lot of bad ones have fallen along and they've gone, thank goodness. But people are changing, coming up like you, seizing the moment, providing great opportunities for new people who want something a bit different, and hopefully to help them. So if somebody decides they want to find out more about you, how would they do that?
Well, I would love anyone to find, if it's our remit, to find out more about us. So we are on Instagram, and we are love_generator_matchmaking. And then you can find us on our website, which is lovegenerator.co.uk. And you can email me directly at hello@lovegenerator.co.uk as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much indeed, Amy. It's been a real pleasure to get you on here and to learn all about your company. And I wish you great and wonderful things ahead of you. And I'm sure you'll have that. And I'm sure we'll speak again. So thank you very much. And if anyone of my listeners is interested, please do check out Amy's Love Generator Instagram and website and find out more. What do you have to lose? Take some action now. Get some information. Your life could be a lot different this time next year.
You only live once, so seize the moment.
Exactly. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, James. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to give you a free copy of my latest book, which you can download right now from my website, jamespreece.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could share the love by taking a few seconds to write a positive review on the iTunes store right now. See you next time.